Among the billions of races in the universe, I chose to become the Amorph, a hostile alien creature, because this race can grow stronger through devouring and evolution, eventually reaching a point where they can swallow an entire planet in one bite. But despite being so powerful, this race has the lowest online rate among all races, simply because Amorphs are extremely fragile when first born. They can only kill a cockroach through sneak attacks. Looking at the values that are close to 0 before my eyes, I rubbed my eyes in disbelief, thinking I must have seen it wrong. These stats are pathetically low. It would take forever to grow into a true overlord. But worrying about it now won't help. Just as I closed the information window, I experienced my first molt. After molting, I felt completely drained. I needed to replenish my energy quickly, so I could only sneak into an empty warehouse. Because if I crawled out to look for food outside, others could easily crush me underfoot like a dried scorpion. So I activated the hypersenses unique to Amorphs, and quickly found a container filled with food. But I didn't expect it to be password protected, which made things difficult. Then I directly entered 1234. In the next instant, the warehouse door opened. Looks like I'm incredibly lucky to have guessed it right. How many people would actually use such a password? Just as I finished eating a piece of chocolate, I noticed a cockroach passing by behind me. So I seized the moment when it wasn't paying attention and launched my lightning 5-hit combo, precisely subduing it. At this moment, I was curious about what a cockroach would taste like in a morph's mouth, so I swallowed it in one bite. Crispy and crunchy with a chicken-like flavor. At the same time, an information window suddenly appeared. Congratulations on triggering the predator effect, successfully extracting cockroach wings. Do you choose to apply? I didn't expect to obtain genetic fragments so quickly. You have to know the trigger probability for this is very low. Because genetic fragments are the core of a morph, they can only become stronger through constant devouring. So I immediately pressed the confirm button. Then 2 bulges protruded directly from my back, and a pair of wings instantly grew out. Looking at this pair of gray wings, I was quite satisfied. After all, this was an invaluable life-saving measure. But how to take flight puzzled me. So I imagined them as part of my body, using my brain to control the wing muscles. The next second, I was airborne. But flying for just a short while made me break out in a cold sweat. The energy consumption of flight was much greater than I'd imagined. After replenishing myself with a few bites, I set my sights on the cockroaches, because they tasted much better than that waxy chocolate. So the cockroaches entered their hunting hour. Before I knew it, I'd eaten 20 of them. But this time, I didn't obtain any cockroach genetic fragments. The exoskeleton can only be improved through leveling up. The reason I ate so many cockroaches was to obtain their tenacious vitality. While there's still no one patrolling here, I need to eat a few more quickly. So in the following time, I completely transformed into the natural enemy of cockroaches. With flight ability, I quickly located the cockroaches' positions, scaring the remaining cockroaches so much they would run at the sight of me. But trying to slip away under the nose of me, the ultimate Amorph, isn't that easy. This time I was careless and didn't dodge the obstacle, making my bald head become prominently horned. Don't think hiding inside makes you safe. I directly launched my tail stinger toward the cockroach. Let's see where you run this time. As I swallowed the cockroach, the information window appeared again. Predator effect triggered. Successfully obtained cockroach tenacious vitality fragment. Do you choose to apply? So I chose without hesitation. Then my muscles and bones grew outward rapidly, looking much stronger than before. At the same time, I heard human voices coming from outside the warehouse. As a morph, humans and I are in an adversarial relationship. I need to become powerful before humans discover me. So I can't limit myself to just this warehouse. Then I crawled through the ventilation shaft into the pipeline, through which I could reach the adjacent experimental cabin. There are relatively fewer people there, and if discovered, it would be easier to escape by destroying the equipment inside. Just as I climbed into the ventilation duct, the exhaust fan inside suddenly started up. Damn it, this makes things difficult. So I could only carefully remove the exhaust fan's outer shell. If I damaged the ventilation system, the AI would definitely report to the humans, and then attracting humans would be troublesome. Now it's time to rely on my shape-shifting ability. Iron oxide and tin metal dust mixed together in the air can make the fan blade slow down slightly at specific points. After my brain processed all the data, it told me, jump now, so I concentrated all my strength into my wings and rushed toward the exhaust fan with full force. With just a ding sound, I successfully passed through the obstacle. This was truly risking my life. If I had been hit by the fan blades, I probably would have been missing limbs forever. I hope I won't encounter such things again. As I continued crawling, I heard human voices in the ventilation duct. From their conversation, I learned some information about experiments. Originally, I thought this was just an ordinary spaceship, but it seems to belong to a megacorporation. Megacorporations are prosperous human factions around the solar system, where countries are ruled not by governments, but by large corporations. Most of them are extreme materialists. Most human races in the game are neutral, but megacorporations lean more toward the evil alliance. They capture others for experiments. Looks like I need to be even more careful. Then, I secretly surveyed the laboratory, because what's inside might determine my future evolutionary path. If this is research on combat variant super soldiers, then I can gain a strong body and combat abilities. If it's the evil space elf race, I can gain powerful psychic abilities. Between these two abilities, I prefer psychic abilities, but these are just my speculations. At the same time, I heard a faint cry for help, which puzzled me. After searching around, I finally found its location. It was an amoeba. This struck me as very strange, because amoebas are one of the most useless mutant beasts. Their only ability is storing oxygen. Then I activated hypersenses, and discovered it was currently being electrocuted. Could this be the experiment those two humans were talking about? So I pressed the release button. The amoeba thanked me for my help. Then I heard human footsteps, so I immediately found a place to hide. As the cabin door slowly opened, a woman holding a black cat walked in. She seemed very dissatisfied with the man's experimental results. When the man heard about revoking his senior researcher status, he broke out in a cold sweat. If you can uncover talent from test subject number 26, then promotion to chief researcher would be secured. So the woman decided to have him use Salome on the test subject. It's an awakening drug manufactured by the Star Union. Hearing this, the man was somewhat resistant, but for the sake of his senior researcher position, he still chose to compromise. Then he injected 0.07 milligrams of Salome into the amoeba, but the woman felt this was far from enough, so she directly maxed out the dosage. As the drug was continuously injected, the amoeba let out painful wails. Seeing this, the woman showed a satisfied smile. Watching all this from a distance, I was startled. After the drug injection was complete, the amoeba changed from pink to gray, and its aura became very weak. The woman had the man stay to record data and then turn to leave. Suddenly, she looked up toward the experimental apparatus. But there was nothing there. Was she being overly cautious? This startled me. This woman isn't as simple as I thought. The scene shifted, and I arrived at a place filled with pipes. Then I spat a mouthful of void venom toward the pipe connections. As the pipes spread my toxin throughout the entire warship. This ship now feels like an extension of my body. I can sense everyone's every move, even their whispered conversations. On the 4th day of becoming a amorph, my nest was completed, and in the following days I shuttled between it and the cargo hold, eating while catching cockroaches and spiders, while gathering important intelligence. I also learned some information about that woman. Kisaragi, the research team leader of this ship, although her body is frail, she is the most important person here, and also a threat to my survival. 2 days ago, there was an accident. A test subject escaped. She made a tracking device within 2 hours and successfully recaptured the test subject. If that escaped guy had used the ventilation ducts, then I would be in danger too. The next instant, she looked toward the ventilation opening, because she once again felt like she was being watched, but still saw nothing. Little did she know I was already trembling with fear. For a human, her perception is too acute. Could she have psychic abilities? It refers to those well-known superpowers like telepathy, mind control, etc. Humans occasionally gain such abilities too. But regardless of whether she has such abilities, there are always armed soldiers guarding her in a state of alert. How can I deal with her? At the same time, my level increased again. This time I gained a paralytic venom, which for a weak creature like me is a decent life-saving measure, because 1 drop can easily subdue an adult for 5 minutes. But to use the venom, I need a one-on-one situation. She has soldiers following her 24 hours a day, making it nearly impossible for me. Let me go out and relax for now. So I grabbed 2 pieces of chocolate and headed outside, then secretly came to the laboratory. After several days of recovery, the amoeba's condition was much better. Then I climbed onto the control panel and opened a window to crumble food into it, and the food flowed through the pipes and was gradually absorbed by it. The amoeba was very happy to receive food. Logically speaking, amoebas don't have any special abilities, but this one is unique. I wonder if its race has changed. At the same time, I remembered that Kisaragi often holds a black cat in her arms. She's very fond of this cat named Caesar. If her cat disappeared, would she expose her weakness? Soon I followed the ventilation duct where it was located. I have to say this cat's treatment is very good. It even has its own private room. The ventilation duct entrance looks like there's nothing outside. But my super senses show it has dense laser sensors. Even the slightest touch would immediately trigger the AI alarm. Damn it, after I angrily knocked on the floor. The black cat heard the collision sound, so it directly pounced toward the duct, but fortunately there was still an iron grate blocking it. Within just a few breaths of it touching the iron grate, guards also rushed over, but saw nothing suspicious. When they saw it was the black cat, both were speechless, as if they were already used to it. At this moment, I was startled. If those two had discovered me, I'd be finished. I almost got betrayed by my own tail. Coming back to my senses, I suddenly thought of something. From those people's reactions, it seems they can't do anything about this cat, even letting it run wild. If that's the case, I have a way to deal with it. The scene shifted to the next day. I made a slight noise at the ventilation opening, and then turned to leave. When the black cat curiously went to investigate, it saw a cockroach inside. Seeing this, its eyes lit up and it directly knocked open the iron grate. The soldiers didn't stop it when they saw this. They could only wait for it to run back before reinstalling the ventilation opening. Now I just wait for the black cat to fall into the trap I've set. I placed a cockroach at regular intervals in the pipeline. As long as it follows this path here, I can make my move and keep it here. When the black cat crawled out from the ventilation opening, I directly launched a surprise attack on it. Under the paralysis of the toxin, the black cat quickly lost consciousness. The scene shifted to the other side. Kisaragi angrily came to the captain's office. The moment the captain saw her, he immediately sensed trouble. When will I see Caesar again? I haven't seen it for 2 hours. My Caesar strictly follows meal times. Something must have happened. Facing Kisaragi's pressure, the captain remained calm, unless that cat hijacked a rescue ship and used it to escape. Otherwise, it must be somewhere on the ship. Making such a fuss over a damn cat, being questioned by a team leader despite being the captain. This made him very angry, but he was helpless because she came from the nobility representing the capital. And at this moment, Kisaragi seemed to have gone mad, demanding the captain immediately dispose of the soldiers from earlier. This scared him into a cold sweat. The captain has the right to make summary judgments. Exercise that right now. Her behavior also stunned the nearby researcher. The soldiers felt even more angry. So the captain could only agree to hold the trial after finding the cat. Hearing this, Kisaragi gradually calmed down, but she only gave the captain 2 hours. If you still can't find it after 2 hours, you can forget about being captain. After she left, the captain could only curse, "Where did that damn stinking cat run off to?" And I just smiled. Of course it's in my belly. Just after I ate the black cat, I gained a special skill. Wild Instinct. This is a constitution I've never seen before. The Wild Instinct trait can merge with the existing Supersensory trait. It merged with Supersensory and evolved into Predator Instinct. This instinct can sense impending threats through current information. I also tried to activate this instinct, but failed. This might be an automatically activated passive trait. Because no threats exist, it hasn't been activated. I'll have to study this slowly later. Now let me see what she's doing. Soon I arrived at the room where she was. Everything was as I expected. This type of person only shows humanity toward things they cherish. Then my second plan was also successfully completed, stirring up the relationship between her and the guards. Because the guards had a bad relationship with this cat from the beginning, the essence might be closer to anger toward class. Kisaragi comes from the highest echelons of the megacorporation, representing noble capital. Now that they have a rift, the soldiers definitely won't protect her like before. All credit for this goes to that kitty. At the same time, Kisaragi angrily came to the laboratory, venting her emotions on the test subjects inside. Just as she was about to leave, she noticed test subject number 26. She showed a creepy smile, continuously pressing the power button. Only after seeing it barely alive did she leave satisfied. This was something I didn't expect. My amoeba friend bore it all. But don't worry, soon I'll be able to help you get revenge. 2 hours passed, and Kisaragi found the captain again. This time she was very angry, immediately wanting to remove him from his captain position. "Are you defying the will of noble capital? I am the captain of this ship. Watch your words. Even noble capital cannot tolerate overstepping authority. I have the right to detain you." Hearing this, Kisaragi smiled contemptuously. The situation is getting more interesting. It seems there was already conflict between them before I started watching. At this moment, Kisaragi could only leave angrily. Just as she passed the restroom, she happened to want to go in and wash her face, and the 2 soldiers also wanted to take advantage of this gap to use the restroom. So I hurried to crawl toward the restroom's ventilation opening. This was a rare opportunity for me. Usually one person must stay on guard when going to the restroom. But because of the rift, this time both guards went together. Plus there were no security devices in the restroom to interfere with my actions. These were the best conditions for an ambush. When Kisaragi lowered her head to wash her face, I had already arrived behind her. Before she noticed, I slipped to the ceiling above. Suddenly she sensed something was wrong. So she immediately turned around to look. But it was all too late. While crying out in alarm, Kisaragi dodged sideways to avoid my poison stinger. Damn it, she dodged. Then I struck again before she could land. As the toxin was injected, Kisaragi immediately foamed at the mouth and lost the ability to move. At this moment, I was curious about what she was feeling. Fear at seeing the alien creature, or anger at her current situation, or perhaps fear of death, but it's all over now. At the same time, a dialogue box popped up. Evolution conditions have been met. Do you choose to evolve? Do I even need to ask? Of course I'll evolve. Just as I was about to select confirm, a vision of me being shot flashed through my mind. This scared me into shivering. Was that vision the Predator instinct? Damn it, I need to leave here immediately. Just then, I heard footsteps from outside, so I quickly climbed onto the wall to hide. When the soldiers saw Kisaragi, I jumped directly onto his back, swinging my poison stinger toward his weakest point. After doing this, I flew directly up to the ventilation opening and installed the iron grate. I must leave because his companion will discover this place soon. Soon I returned to my nest. Now I should be able to evolve without anyone disturbing me. Then I directly pressed the confirm button. What followed was countless tiny droplets of sweat. Just in the blink of an eye, they became the size of water drops. In no time, red viscous liquid completely enveloped me. My god, this evolution method is quite special. If I had memories from the fetal period, would it feel like this? This liquid is transforming me into a true amorph. Although I really want to open my eyes and see, I can't move at the moment. I can only wait for the evolution to end. The scene shifted to the next day, as the shell writhed. A black-purple amorph crawled out from inside. I finally passed through the hatchling period and truly took the first step. At the same time, the captain gathered all the main members, because they discovered Kisaragi dead in the restroom. If they can't find the cause, presumably none of the people present will have a good outcome. Just then, the vice captain thought of a solution. We're now near planet C08, and this is space pirate territory. If we frame the space pirates for this, the higher-ups will definitely have nothing to say. Space pirates are scoundrels who roam space attacking and plundering, also one of the megacorporation's mortal enemies. If we report being attacked by them, then we can cover up Kisaragi's death. The scene shifted. At this moment, I was experiencing my post-evolution body. Now I'm a void larva. I should change my strategy. Previously, I had to avoid human sight just to survive. Since the survival problem is solved, it's time to consider the next step. Then I opened the attribute panel. The evolution position has been displayed once. Morphological evolution is divided into 6 stages with 5 evolutions total, starting with the initial hatchling period and the current larval period. Next comes the pupa period and pre-adult period. Finally, the adult period. After growing to adult period, I'll be a true amorph. When a shapeshifter rises in the game, all secrets about their origins are revealed, where they come from, what they are, etc. So the possibility might be similar in reality. My identity will definitely be revealed then. But those are matters for later. Now let me see what types I've unlocked. As expected, physical enhancement types are almost all realized. Due to the strengthened exoskeleton and acidic blood trait gained when becoming a larva, the type is similar to other races' abilities but slightly different. When conditions are met, this type unlocks related abilities to gain synergistic bonuses. But I find the second type very strange. I don't think I've eaten this type of creature. Could I have forgotten something? Soon I remembered. It was that woman named Kisaragi. This must be because of her superpowers. Now I must eat her to fill up the progress bar. Then I reopened the ventilation duct. Now that my body has grown larger, the ventilation duct feels much narrower. Soon I found her scent. Found you. At this moment, a red-haired man was wearing headphones listening to music. Just then, he smelled a strange odor, so he quickly got up to investigate. When he came to the room, he was startled by the scene before him. There was somehow a hole in the floor, as if something had corroded it. Just as he was thinking, little did he know danger was quietly approaching. Just as he turned around, I spring-launched to his front. Hunting time. In less than an instant, the man was dealt with by me. Then I went directly to the cold storage room and pulled off the white cloth. Lying there was Kisaragi. Because she came from the noble capital, she remained intact even after death. They also wouldn't allow anyone to touch her body, but I can kill so ruthlessly without feeling any guilt. Could it be that I was already corrupted when I became a morph? Or was this ruthless, cruel guy the real me from the beginning? Forget it, thinking about this won't solve any problems. So I swallowed the woman in one bite. Just then, I felt like there was something in my mouth. I don't know what this device is or what it's for. Could she have had heart disease? So I crushed the core without hesitation. Then the information window appeared. Predator effect triggered. Obtained mental organ genetic fragment. Do you choose to apply mental organ? As expected, just as I guessed, this guy had psychic abilities. Although this is an important mental organ, it doesn't seem very useful to me. Can't worry about that now. Let me fill up the progress bar first. Just after I pressed the confirm button, many tentacle-like hairs grew from the back of my neck. It seems like the predator instinct, another trait fusion that became useful. Then I turned my attention to the guard. Now is the growth stage, nothing can be wasted. Moments later, I sensed the guard's movement outside. It seems they're changing shifts, which means this doctor will also change shifts. When another person comes here, they'll notice the changes in the room. Then when they discover this was a monster's doing, they'll definitely hunt me down. I don't yet have enough ability to engage in full combat with the crew. I need something to buy time until I become stronger. Just then, I noticed the black smoke from the corroded deck, with corpse preservation chemicals nearby. I suddenly thought of an interesting idea. This might be a good way to get through the crisis and harass the crew. The scene shifted to the other side. An old man was happily farming on the land. Then 2 men in black came to his side. They were there to inform him of Kisaragi's death. When the man heard his 3rd daughter was dead, he laughed loudly, saying it was impossible. Seeing this, the butler nearby was already sweating profusely. However, the man in black said again it was true. The last signal came from near C08. Investigation shows this is space pirate territory. Before the man in black could finish, he was met with a heavy punch. After he fell, the man picked up a farming axe and swung it down at him. After this was done, several more men in black came and carried him away. This person was the leader of the Eugen family, one of the great families in the East Asian region of Earth base. The reason he was so angry was because the cost of cultivating Kisaragi could buy an interstellar warship.